I wouldn't raise any family in the United States. It's a little expensive to raise a family here in China, but I think it's worth it. Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from the United States.
What about your feeling after you come to China?
Oh well, now I live in China, so I must like it, or else I wouldn't be living here. Because I don't go to university here anymore. I work here now.
Oh, you work here?
Yeah, I work here. I work in it's a company I co-founded. We're creating an AI to teach Chinese to foreigners. Yeah.
So what about your opinion about AI development in China?
I think AI development in China is pretty open. It's pretty easy to get into. There's a lot of businesses there that are getting started. A lot of support systems. And though maybe in the U.S. we might think it is very regulated, it's actually not too regulated. So there's a lot of opportunity to grow. And also maybe certain monopolies outside of China aren't present inside of China, so it gives you the ability to develop your own AI apps here. Yeah.
So from your perspective, maybe you will think China is a great country?
I think China is a great country. Yeah. There's a reason why I'm living here now.
Which one you like better, USA or China?
Living in, definitely, I wouldn't raise any family in the United States. It's a little expensive to raise a family here in China, but I think it's worth it. Yeah.
宁愿在中国顶着高成本养家，也绝不回美国。当一个土生土长的美国人对着镜头说出这种话的时候，是不是和西方媒体天天给我们灌输的画面完全反过来了？其实，真正能留住这些老外的，往往不是什么宏大的概念，而是一些最朴素的感受。咱们来听听接下来这位去过日本的英国老哥是怎么对比中日两国的真实体验的。
Before choosing to settle down here in China, I actually lived in Japan for a short period of time. And while I really love both countries a lot, there's a big difference between the two, which led to me choosing to settle down here and not there. Now, both countries have some breathtaking natural scenery. Both countries are very safe, clean, modern, and have a wide array of delicious food. But there's a big difference between the two, and that's the attitudes towards foreigners. Now, here in China, from day one, I felt very welcomed as an outsider, and the locals have always been very warm and friendly towards me, even when I couldn't speak the language at all. Whereas in Japan, even though the people are very polite and never really openly criticize foreigners in public, I did feel a coldness and felt excluded from social and work circles. And I've never felt that way at all in China. And that's the reason I chose to settle down here. And I'm wondering, guys, have you had any experiences traveling or working in Japan? And would you agree with anything I said, or would you disagree? Anyway, guys, wherever you are today, I hope you're having a fantastic day, and you take care, okay? Peace.
听到了吗？不排外的热情，这才是咱们中华文明骨子里的包容感。你日本街道再干净，骨子里那种让人窒息的冷漠和等级森严是装不出来的。不过，如果说包容是软实力，那接下来这位住在北京的美国老哥享受的可是实打实的硬红利。大家仔细听他算的那笔生活账，一个月只工作不到10天，就能顿顿吃外卖，天天打车，还能请保姆打扫卫生。这要是放在纽约或者伦敦，除非你是华尔街的金融大佬，否则像他这种普通人，只能没日没夜的干到退休。但比起这种物质上的舒适，最后这位拿着英国名校硕士学历的年轻人，他的故事才真正揭露了一个老牌资本主义帝国是如何把自己的年轻人逼上绝路的。
People always ask me, Max, what is it like living in Beijing? Why do you live in China? Isn't it so much better to live somewhere in the West where you speak a common language and you have a better sense of things going on? So I thought I'd just allow you to join me on a short walk here while I talk a little bit about my experience and why I continue year after year for 5 or 6 years now to live in Beijing. And it's really not that complicated. Let me not get hit by a bus here. It's really not that complicated. The reality is that the quality of life that I'm afforded living here far surpasses anything that I would get comparably in the United States. And there's a variety of reasons for that. But, well, reasons only matter so much. The result is what matters. I work, like, generously, on the high end, I work maybe 10 days a month. Probably less, probably more like 5 most of the time. And that's enough for me to pay all my bills. That's enough for me to pay for all of my food, because of course I order delivery or eat out for every single meal. I don't cook. That allows me to pay for my rent in my apartment, which isn't like stellar, but it's nice enough. Anytime I go anywhere, I take a taxi cab, and it allows me to pay for that. And of course, I have an IE, or a maid, who comes once a week and cleans my apartment, does my laundry, irons my shirts, etc., etc. So, I mean, more than anything else, I do it because I'm afforded such an excellent quality of life. How much money would you have to make in the United States to eat out for every meal? Or take a taxi for every trip? Or have a maid? And even if you are making that money, you're probably working more than 5 days a month. You're probably working full time. So, really, in the end, it's economic. The opportunities are plentiful. The people are kind. There's great chances to go around and see interesting things. Public transit's great. The high-speed rail, airlines, all very affordable. And really, you just get to have a nice time. I mean, you know, if you come as a teacher, you'll get some of these benefits. You'll be able to afford the meals and everything. But the problem with coming as a teacher is that usually it's like a 40-hour work week. You work 5 days. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. You'll still be living better than if you were in the States, unless you have like a really high-paying job. So, I don't know. It's just the simplicity of it, the comfort of it. I buy luxuries. I go to interesting events. In a few days, I'm going to be attending a gala on the Great Wall of China. I'm actually walking back from my tailor right now. I picked up my tuxedo, custom-made tuxedo, for a gala on the Great Wall. I mean, come on. What do you think you'd have to do in the United States to attend something like that? You know, whatever the equivalent would be. A gala at Mount Rushmore. You'd have to be friends with the governor of the Dakotas, North Dakota, South Dakota, whichever Dakota. Here, you don't need to be. I have some friends who work in, I think it's the Australian Chamber of Commerce, and they got me an invite. There you go. It's that easy. So, people always ask me why I do the things I do, and why I continue to live here. Really, that's my reason. I can't see myself changing unless circumstances conspire to either make it unaffordable or to otherwise damage or harm the quality of life that I've sort of come to enjoy and suspect while living here. I don't know. We'll see. Prices are low. Life is easy. Hard to argue with that.
This is part of the reason why we decided to run away from the UK. It's part of the reason why I'm currently sitting in Shanghai making this video. It's a journey that has been years in the making, and today I will tell you why. You see, my girlfriend and I were in the final semester before graduating from our master's degrees in the UK. And then all of a sudden, this huge event completely changed the world.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
Of course, I'm talking about the pandemic. Many countries dealt with this event pretty well. Others, not so well. And unfortunately, the UK was one of those countries whose response was a bit of a catastrophe. And that response set us on the path to where we are today. It's one of the 3 major reasons that contributed to our decision to stay in China for the foreseeable future. instead of moving back to the UK. Back in early 2020, when it was all kicking off, many people were stuck outside of their home country and literally didn't have a clue what to do. Should they stay? Should they return home? Is it going to be over in a week or two, or is this thing going to drag on and on for years? Unfortunately, it dragged on, didn't it? But luckily, things worked out in our favour anyway. You see, as China was lifting its lockdown, having beaten the virus and completely eradicated it from the country through their zero COVID policy, the UK was just now deciding to respond. My girlfriend was still in the UK, and after being called every day for months by her family urging her to return home for her safety, she decided to head back to China. A mere few days after she returned home, the UK and myself were thrust into a period of endless uncertainty and lockdowns. You see, they closed the borders. We couldn't leave our homes for more than 1 hour per day for months. Supplies were limited, and the government forced us to take a vaccine in order to do anything. Looking back, the UK at that time really was a mess. Whilst China was getting on with their lives, we had riots across Europe and America, with the police setting dogs on protesters and arresting people for walking along the beach. Playgrounds were taped shut, toys were sectioned off in shops. The amount of bizarre policies are truly too many to name. And most of them have been erased from our memory because I think we're embarrassed by them. It was at this point that I decided I could no longer stay here. So we set a plan in motion, and I took one last look at my home, at the UK, and what it had become. And I decided that life would be better elsewhere. I received a job offer in China, and the funniest part about this period was that although the UK, Europe, and America was in a complete and utter mess, people still warned me not to move to China. But I knew better, and so on I went. And once I arrived, I was shocked, I guess. That was my feeling, because everything here in China was so normal. You see, we had been told back home on the news that things in China were crazy, that COVID had destroyed the country and they couldn't deal with it. The country was collapsing. So imagine my surprise leaving the UK, where there were 50,000 cases per day, and arriving in China where there was, well, none. Life was completely normal. We could do what we want, travel internally where we wanted. Of course, there were the occasional people that wouldn't sit next to a foreigner on the subway out of precautions of catching the virus. But other than that, people just went about their daily lives. And daily life was awesome. This was the first time I had travelled to Asia, and I fell in love with China pretty much straight away. I was immediately struck by the vibrancy and dynamism of the place. It was a stark contrast to what I had become accustomed to. I lived in Foshan for a year, a city in the Greater Bay Area that is undergoing a lot of development, and this was my first time experiencing how lightning fast China can develop a place. Of course, adapting to the new environment came with its challenges, but the warmth of the people and the richness of the culture made it a fascinating and interesting journey. Soon after I arrived, my girlfriend and I decided that this was the place we would like to build our lives. There's a sense of community and safety here that is literally unparalleled. The societal structure, respect for traditions, the forward-thinking mindset make it a unique blend of the old and new. There's a palpable feeling of growth and development here. Opportunities for both personal and professional growth seem boundless. China, due to its location and its infrastructure, is also an excellent base for travel, especially for exploring the rest of Southeast Asia. And of course, when you're thinking of growing a family, one aspect of China that truly stands out is the aforementioned safety. Living here, we feel secure and part of a community. Second in importance to safety is the economy. No one wants to live in a country that looks like its economy will be in an extended decline, like the UK. Which brings me on to reason number 3. Whilst I've been here this whole time, I've been weighing up China's development and its pros and cons, because every country has cons, of course, against my home country. And in this time, the UK, well, it really hasn't advanced at all. It's dead in the water. It hasn't bounced back from COVID. It's regressed even further since the Brexit referendum. No intelligent person in their right mind can look to the UK and China and being given the option of either choose to live in the UK. For me, it's a complete no-brainer. You see, although economics is cyclical, going through booms and peaks and then falls and then levelling out and starting that cycle again, UK growth has completely stagnated since the 1980s. And through a combination of bad policymaking and bad leadership, it's a country that is very much on the decline. And unfortunately, there doesn't really seem to be a turning point in sight. Sure, we are in a lucky position. As I mentioned, we both have master's degrees from top UK universities. We could have stayed in the UK. We could have fought hard to find decent enough jobs to scrape by. But there are many things about a country that 2 people alone cannot change. And there are too many disadvantages to living and raising a family in the UK. Especially as young people today. Living in the UK, you will have limited opportunities. It's very difficult to afford a house, even on the best of salaries. The waits for healthcare are ridiculous. The cost of living has gone literally through the roof. We also didn't have the option of moving to the EU as the UK left the European Union. Although I'm not sure that would have been a good idea anyway, looking at the state of the current situation of many European countries. So it's been a mixture of events that have got us to where we are today. Reflecting on my decision to move to China and our decision to stay here, we of course have no regrets. It's been a journey of discovery, learning and immense growth. China is not just a place I reside in, it's a place that has reshaped my perspectives and enriched my life in countless ways. I'm excited about what the future holds for us here, because our plans are to live here for the foreseeable future. Build our lives here, maybe buy an apartment right here in Shanghai. So if you guys want to watch the rest of that journey, make sure you subscribe and catch me over on Instagram where I post pretty much daily updates. You know, I post a lot more regularly over there. Thanks for watching guys, and I will see you in the next video.
为什么这些拿着发达国家护照的年轻人，甚至高学历精英，哪怕顶着本国政客的抹黑，也要拼命跑到中国来，并且来了就不想走？视频最后那位英国小哥说的2个词，给出了终极答案：安全感与向上的力量。阿星觉得这才是咱们中国最独一无二的底牌。小哥吐槽英国现在的状况，其实挺让人唏嘘的。一个曾经的日不落帝国，经济停滞了几十年。年轻人就算拿着名校的硕士文凭，也买不起房，面对高昂的医疗费，只能绝望。这种阶层的固化和对未来的无力感，才是逼走这群年轻精英的真正原因。而反观中国，我们当然也有我们的压力，我们也在经历转型期的种种阵痛。但不可否认的是，这片土地上始终涌动着一股生机勃勃的活力。我们能给在这里生活的人，无论是中国人还是外国人，提供一种对明天的确定性。就像小哥说的，中国不仅仅有科幻一样的基建，更有一种尊老爱幼的社会结构，以及半夜走在任何一条街道上都不用担惊受怕的安全感。这就是大国的底气。我们不需要去强迫谁接受我们的价值观。当我们的城市足够繁华，我们的社会足够安定，那些用脚投票的人，自然会把这里当成他们梦寐以求的家。西方媒体可以花几十亿美元去编造谎言，但在真实的生活质感面前，所有的抹黑都会不攻自破。连这些老外都在感叹能留在中国有多幸运，我们自己又有什么理由不对这片土地充满自信呢？好了，今天茶水间的这段老外在华定居录就聊到这里。你觉得还有什么能让老外来了就不想走？ 欢迎在评论区分享你的见解，点个赞，关注阿欣的茶水间，让我们在这个飞速变化的世界里，守住咱们自己的那份从容。下期见。